Thank you for your interest. I'm happy to answer any questions that I'm able to.
Awesome, thank you. Just to let you know, there's two other graduate students on the line, so you might hear someone else's voice besides mine. And the first question we just wanted to ask was, how did the idea of Grow Collaborative come about? Like what we've seen is that it's the Amazon of sustainable products, but why did it come about?
Sure. So interesting question, actually. This started in San Francisco. Stuart Landsberg, who is our CEO and co-founder, and a couple of other co-founders who remain associated with the company, kind of had the idea in their college days. So it really started out, in somebody's bedroom, moved to small rented think tanks, that sort of thing. And the initiative really was always to bring accessibility to sustainable options and healthful options to a wider variety of audiences. So making people aware of options that they may not know that they have.
Awesome. That's really interesting. So from the bedroom into an office space and to an online brand, how did that come about?
That's I wasn't there for it, but it wasn't that long ago. I want to say it was 2014, 2015, and it actually was called ePantry at the time. So there's been some rebranding as we've taken on more employees. I believe we started with about 14 employees, and I think those are probably basic positions such as, a sustainability director, people who supervise products, people who supervise third-party brand relationships. Of course, we have chemists who work to create our house brands, our own brands that we manufacture ourselves. And I believe Stuart himself has a degree in, I'm not sure if it's business or something related. And Chris Clark, who is also a co-founder, I believe works in the tech sector of things. So it was just really people who maybe didn't have a whole lot of background experience coming together to cultivate the brand around their passions. So we have grown a lot. We still consider ourselves a startup in many, many ways. So we're flexible, we're open to feedback, and we're open to changing directions quickly, especially as, people in other departments learn more about the demands of the sustainable aspect of the CPG industry.
That's awesome. A team of people coming together to create these products. And we took a look at your website. It's really cool looking at, there's a mixture of the Grove products and the other sustainable products as well. So what would you say the percentage between Grove products created and third-party ones are?
Let's see. So I know right now that we're housing over 150 third-party brands, and I want to say we have 5 or 6 of our own brands. Let me grab you an exact number here.
Okay.
So our Grove co-brands, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And they range across different categories. So Grove Co. is mainly cleaning products, whereas Peach Rooted Beauty is personal care. Seedling is paper products made out of bamboo. Super Bloom is also beauty. Sustain is sexual wellness. So you're a graduate student. I'm assuming you've got some brains in you. I was an English major, so I'm not going to try to work out the percentages there. If you want to work them out real quick, come up with a number.
Sure.
Great. I knew I could trust one of you guys to do that. But yeah, so I want to say 150, 160 third-party brands. They're all vetted to make sure that they align with our values. And then we also have cultivated 6 house brands.
Thank you. You can go.
Yeah, so just, Emily, the inspiration, I feel a lot of it is just clean, healthy, sustainable products for the home as well as the person in general. How did this idea come about? Did Stuart and Chris just, was it this is not enough on the market of good products? Should we just dive into this? Or was it something that pushed them into this type of business? Do you happen to know that?
I think, and there are a lot of interviews where Stu Landsberg talks about this extensively that I would love for you all to take some time to check out. He's a great speaker, and I love to watch his interviews as well. As far as I can speak to that, I think the idea was that the CPG industry has such a massive impact on how we live our day-to-day life, but that mostly goes unnoticed. And so that is such a huge opportunity to grab a hold of and kind of set a leadership example for what other brands might want to do as we come to terms with the effect on the climate, the effect we are having on the environment, both through, production and manufacturing, but as well as pollution, the real opportunities that recycling presents to us and what it doesn't provide us with. One of Stu's favorite things to say is, as much as we want to recycle our way out of this problem, we can't. It's just not something that we can do. And so to take the initiative and to say we're going to present alternative packaging options, and not only that, but we're going to make our products we're going to avoid ingredients that are not bioaccumulative. We're going to head in the direction of things that are biodegradable so that we're not having an adverse effect on our oceans, on our wildlife, because we're seeing that as a result of this industry. Many others, of course, as well. But I think Stu really took pride in the idea of being a part of what someone brings home with them.
Wow, that's very, very good. Because I just on a website as well, like you guys trying to go 100% plastic free by 2025.
Yes, and I'm excited for that too.
That is, and so let me asking, how is that going so far? Like, what are some things you guys are doing right now to help you reach that goal in the next 4 years? Like, what are some things you're doing right now?
Right now, what we're doing is we have a working group, which includes members from several teams. So products, chemistry, management, and also management from third-party brands that we partner with, because we vet them ahead of time to make sure that they're on board with that initiative. So our plan isn't just to have our house brands be 100% plastic-free, it's the third-party brands as well, so that we can offer that both across the industry and on a platform where people can shop without the headache of wondering where that product is coming from and what kind of resource footprint it's going to have. So we have a working group who are, in touch with each other and experimenting and trying to further this initiative day in and day out. Stu Landsberg really wanted to put the pedal to the metal on this, because a lot of these promises, they say we're going to have it done by such and such a date, and that date is 10, 20, 30 years in the future. He wants to make this happen while he's in control of the company. Another thing that we're doing is we're making sure that our house brands are already up to that standard when we release them. So Super Bloom, I believe, was made out of glass across the entire line. Rooted Beauty, we're slowly transitioning to glass and aluminum. Grove Co. has switched from plastic packaging to glass packaging across a lot of their products. Sustain, I believe, will be moving to aluminum, if I recall correctly. And Seedling is made from bamboo that's sustainably produced, harvested, panda-friendly, everything you could want, and packaged in compostable cardboard.
Wow, that's great. I'm just falling more in love with the company after you're telling us these things. It's great. This is awesome.
You and me both.
And just on a personal side of it, just one of your questions is, when have you felt the most excited about the work that you're doing, and what made it felt so exciting to you?
It was actually, if you're asking for personal, I'll give it to you. During the pandemic, when I was in between jobs, I knew that I wanted to take some time and find something that really aligned with my values that I was going to feel good about doing. And I found Grove, and kind of like the conversation we're having right now, the more I learned, the more excited I got about it. And because we're a startup, there is so much energy and ambition across the company to do these new innovative things that nobody has ever seen before, and I really, really admire that. I love getting other people interested in that initiative. I think there is some misunderstanding on what sustainability actually means because there are so many different aspects, and I think people get overwhelmed, get confused, and if I can be sort of a filter to kind of make it make sense, I'm happy to do that, and I love doing that. It's taught me a lot, and I love to keep up to date with our sustainability report to see the new initiatives and to see things that maybe I hadn't thought about, particularly with international brands.
Wow, very exciting stuff. I'm just going to turn the floor over to my other colleague, Michelle. She's going to ask you some,
Sure.
Different impacts of the innovation on what you do at Grove.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi. So what were some important effects that you've noticed so far?
So we have a partnership with Repurpose.global, and that's part of our plastic neutral initiative that we have in place as we move toward being 100% plastic free. What that means is that every ounce of plastic that we sell on the site is calculated and offset in the form of putting people to work in well-paying, consistent, and safe jobs. Particularly in places like India, places where there might not be steady work, and they are collecting plastic from the environment, from the ocean, keeping it out of waterways. So if you go on repurpose.global.com, you can calculate your current plastic footprint. Other sites also offer the opportunity to calculate your carbon footprint. When I did that a year and a half ago, and then I revisited as I made a transition to a more sustainable lifestyle, I was able to see it go down and down and down, and also compare to the average American plastic footprint. So I know that I'm having less of an impact on the environment, and if anything, I'm having a positive impact because we offer so many upcycled materials. So if you see plastic on the site, it's going to be post-consumer recycled. Aluminum, for example, I'm sure you know, takes about 95% less energy to recycle and upcycle and is infinitely recyclable. So when you see those products come forward that are made out of upcycled, recycled materials as opposed to producing more materials, especially that are going to have a negative impact, that is something that I feel good about because it's coming closer and closer to being more of a circular economy, so to speak, in terms of the materials that we're using.
So do you expect, what other plans do you see for the future other than this change towards plastic-free items and products? So like maybe clothing, do you see Grove planning on offering maybe like recycled clothing options too?
Right now, the only thing we've put out in the clothing sector is we're offering Beyond Plastic t-shirts, which is what we call the Beyond Plastic Initiative, and those are 100% cotton, so they're not going to be releasing microfibers, tiny plastics into waterways if you wear them and you wash them. That's a very, very new idea, so I'm not sure if we're going to expand on that based on the response that we get. I've seen people really in love with the t-shirts, so I'm not sure if there's more to come in the future, but I'm definitely hoping so. Some other initiatives that we're on our way to completing goals that we set are our deforestation-free supply chain. So we are not only saving trees with our paper products, but we're also planting trees in partnership with the Arbor Day Foundation. I do believe that we've got some refill stations. We don't have much of a brick and mortar presence going on right now. We've recently moved into Target, but I think we are kind of eyeballing the idea of refill stations in a brick and mortar location to increase accessibility to, like I said, a kind of circular economy when it comes to the products that we use.
Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't hear about the deforestation aspect. That's really nice. Is there any concrete evidence that would show the impact that Grove has had so far? Like maybe any articles?
We do have some materials on the site that I'd be happy to email over to you if you gave me an address to send them to. It's just a lot of information that I don't think I could articulately compress into a phone call, especially because the sustainability report is not designed by me. But I can send you those materials. There's also plenty of publicity put out there by Stu himself to kind of measure the impact that we've had. Another thing you might be interested in looking at is our B Corp certification score, which is also available via a link on the website that I can send over to you, and that measures a few different, let me see here if I can find it, and I can read off the different categories, how they measure the environmental impact score. There we go. Thanks for bearing with me. So impact area scores are across governance, workers, community, environment, and customers. We do have our scores going back to 2014 when we first got our certification, and that is renewed every 3 years. It is an intensive reviewal process, as I'm sure you must know. Right now we're standing at an 80.3 across all of those areas.
Okay.
Very strong, especially for a corporation.
It is very strong.
I think it's great. I'm proud of that.
Very good work.
Well, you know, it's all me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I wish.
Well, you're definitely part of it for sure. You know, because it's definitely a personal thing for you as well. You know, just to be living and working that's just even more of a positive impact. You know, it's like you like going to work because this is all, you know, the whole clean living is what you embody, you know, in your personal life as well. So that's great. That's great.
Exactly. And I think bringing some level of consciousness to the consumer, once your eyes are open to that, there's not really any going back. So that personal initiative I see grow and grow and grow as customers get familiar with our mission and our site. I'm excited to see it come out, and I love that you're doing this project. So thanks for calling.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.